Well, hello YouTubers. This is Mike from What Works For Me Aquariums, or in this particular instance, sadly, what doesn't work for me aquariums. This is an update from the last video I made about the water change I did and the loss of coral. And I've come to find out, I think I know what happened, and we're going to discuss that in just a second. If you've never encountered it, be very careful, okay? And sadly, right now, I've got another problem, so let me explain to you. When I did that water change 2 weeks ago, I told you that immediately afterwards everybody started acting strange. The coral wouldn't open up the way they're supposed to, and subsequently the following day one appeared to be dying, and it did. I have lost 4 pieces of coral, 3 pieces of coral so far, not 4, 3. There was a green star polyp, which again I didn't think I could destroy, but I managed it. This piece of leather coral and another piece of finger leather coral, kind of like the one on the right there, the smaller one. Now, so I decided what in the world happened, and I posted the video, and I was very lucky. Someone commented, and they suggested that it was possible that one of the coral felt threatened, and it was stressed, and it was defending itself, at which point it will produce a type of toxin, which then proceeded to poison some of the other coral. Now, I guess this makes perfect sense to me. I've never heard of it, but then haven't looked it up. But what I did do is call my local fish store with the guys that I usually do business with, and they agreed that was very definitely a possibility. Now, something else I left out of the last video and why that may have occurred. See the finger leather right in the middle, the bigger piece? When I was vacuuming the tank, I accidentally sucked it into the vacuum. And I got it out pretty quick. It didn't do any damage to it, but guess what? That may have been the very thing that triggered its defense mechanism, and subsequently, sadly, destroyed a number of my pieces of coral. Okay, now let me just point out that up in the upper left-hand corner, this piece of green polyp leather coral, it is not injured or anything like that. I just moved it because it was over here on the right by the sea anemone, and it appears to have, I thought it might sting it, so I just moved it over. That anemone is a bigger pain in the butt than I really anticipated. It's getting bigger than I thought. I mean, I know they get big and all that. And I am going to upgrade the tank here shortly, so it probably won't be an issue. But, you know, if you've ever kept a nano reef and decided to keep an anemone, you must understand, and I think everybody really gets this. But if you don't get it, here's some information for you. Anemones have a tendency to wander around. And I'm going to tell you something else here in a minute about that. They will uproot themselves, they'll release themselves from the rock they're on, and they'll crawl around until they find a more suitable spot. And it moved all around. See where the banded coral shrimp is right now? That's where it started. And it looked like it does right now. It was healthy, it was all bushed out, full, and it looked really, really good. And it stayed there for a long time. Good, it's found its forever home. Sadly, it did not find its forever home, and it moved over and it wandered around for a little bit. And then it showed up kind of where it is now, but then it didn't like it either. So it crawled up onto the front glass of the aquarium, and when I was in the when I was looking at the aquarium the other day, it was just hanging on the front glass, and it was pretty much all closed up, and it didn't look healthy. But I knew it was just upset. It was trying to find a spot. Well, I walked away for a minute. When I came back, it had released itself from the front glass and landed behind that piece of leather coral that's in the middle of the tank. And I believe it may have stung it. That piece of leather coral in the middle of the tank is about twice that size normally, and the polyps are pretty closed up. They don't look, it's not bleaching much, so I'm hoping that it'll simply recover. We're going to find out. So right now, the actual survivors of all this mayhem are the clownfish, the banded shrimp, the 2 feather dusters. None of them seem to have any effect at all on anything. The anemone doesn't seem to have been affected. And the blushing pink coral, which is a little piece that's in the upper left portion of the tank, it seems fantastic. The green polyp leather coral really was doing great until I moved it just a minute ago. The smaller piece of finger leather seems quite happy, happier than it was. Now, it seemed affected by the poisoning, but it seems to be recovering quite well. Now my only concern is what will happen to the finger leather in the middle there, the larger piece. If it was stung by an anemone, it may not make it. We'll find out. So, yeah. Let me sum this up. First, I don't feel super bad because it wasn't any crazy Water parameter change. It wasn't something that I messed up, like didn't not properly curing the tanker or whatever. I keep everything running properly. All the equipment's clean. I keep the water changes up, and so this is what you see. And that's I feel good about that, because clearly I can keep a saltwater aquarium, reef tank. So that's got me encouraged. There are some things I now have learned. First, don't suck up your coral into the vacuum. That's unfortunate, and you see the sad results that it did cause a lot of damage. Secondly, anemones probably ought to stay away from in a smaller tank. That anemone, when I got it, was about a half that size. I didn't imagine it was going to do so well. It is, however, doing marvelously, as you can see. But they're a little hard to keep in a small tank, because, like I say, start wandering around, just run right over other corals and whatever else they come in contact with, and they'll immediately sting it, and it is a poisonous sting, especially to a smaller creature. Anyhow, that's where we're at right now. My 35 gallon is coming along beautifully. Let me swing my camera around a little bit and I'll show you. So there she sits, okay? That is an AI Prime light that's on the top there. I've got everything else running. There I put out a video regarding the AI Prime light and how to put it together. It was a real challenge. It's not hard. That it is not complicated. It was hard. It required some dexterity that I apparently did not possess, and I was able to get it together. It's working fine, as you can see. It took a little bit to understand how to program it, but it wasn't difficult. It has an easy program setting, and it worked real well. So as you can see, it's ready to go. So what I'm doing today is producing water. I've got 2 buckets of RLDI water that's already been produced. I have to have 7 total. And as anybody knows that's ever used a RODI water system, it's slow. So hopefully by the end of the day, I'll have all 7 buckets full. That's 5 gallons apiece. That's 35 gallons total. I don't think I'm actually going to need the full 35 gallons, simply because after you put the rock and the sand in, it's going to, that's going to take up a lot of space. So one way or the other, this is about to be set up. I was going to do it all today and go up to my local store and buy the fish water right and just bring it back, but just couldn't get out of the house right away, and then it's too late in the day now. So I'm just go ahead and do it the way I've been doing it. We'll get it all set up. I'll mix the salt sometime in the next few days. I hope we'll have this tank set up and getting cured, getting cycled, and we'll get everything ready to go. So as I said, let's just keep this. If you pray, pray. If not, that's fine. Just send me well wishes. I'm hoping everything that is still in tank will survive, and I won't have any further disasters. So anyway, this is again Mike from What Works For Me Aquariums, and I hope that we'll continue on an upward trend and everything will straighten out. If you have any comments, like or subscribe, please. You can go ahead and add the comments to the comment section. Be glad to hear them. Please be kind. This is all kind of new to me, so I'm learning. Some might say, Mike, why don't you just watch a bunch of YouTube videos and really learn, then do it? But I guess I'm just not that patient. One way or the other, we're getting this going, and it is working. So I don't feel terribly upset by the loss. You're going to suffer losses in the aquarium hobby anyway, so we understand that. But you don't have to try not to cause them, which is sadly some of the things I've done. Again, I don't feel too bad, because I didn't really do anything wrong in the actual setup and maintenance of the tank, which means whatever setback I had, I can recover from. Let me add something. I don't know if I've said this in any of my other videos. This is something that I found fascinating, and it turns out it's okay. The last thing most of us would do was buy any kind of reefing anything from Petco or PetSmart Big Box. Generally speaking, we all understand that they're not always well kept. The tanks can be on the shady side. Now, the person that runs my local Petco, and the thing is, say I'm an hour and a half away from a local fish store. So Petco's right here in my town, 5 minutes away. So I do what I can there. That is, I purchase fish food, I purchase salt, I purchase equipment that's sometimes necessary, so forth and so on. However, they have frags, and that's where all of these frags came from. Can you imagine? In fact, everything in the tank came from there. Which is, to me, rather amazing. I was pleasantly surprised. Another thing is the frags are cheap. You can get frags the size of the ones you're seeing here for about $25, $24.99, which is a bunch cheaper than your average run-of-the-mill a local pet store, or even the ordering them online, because like, order them online, you can sometimes find the prices are pretty good, but the shipping will really eat into it, almost double the price. So anyway, if you are daring and would want to take a chance, go ahead and give them a try. The only thing I've found so far was a bristle worm. It was on the base, on the plug of one of the corals, and that coral belly shrimp zipped up, grabbed that thing, and ate it right in front of me. So I haven't had any other issues. I don't really expect to have any issues. And the lady who runs the local pet department, aquarium department, has recently told me that they're trying with another supplier to get a better variety of frags. So pretty much this is all they ever get, is what you see in front of you. They just don't hardly get anything at all. It's just very simple, and they're almost always exactly the same. So I'm hoping that she'll come through and we'll see something unique. And she's supposed to be ordering, supposed to be in sometime soon. So anyway, if I get some new stuff or some more entertaining stuff, I'll be sure and show it to you. I want you guys to have a good rest of the day. This is Mike from What Works For Me Aquariums.